Hey guys, I didn't feel like working much tonight. I'm already in my jammies. Yeah, by the way, I highly recommend satin jammies if you have back problems because you slide easier when you roll around at night. It doesn't hurt your back as much, especially when you're doing this kind of work. You want to be comfortable. Anyway, so here's my progress. Last night I finished this wall. I took most of it off, but there's still masking tape and stuff. I'm not even going to bother trying to unravel that telephone cord because it is stapled to that board that's up across there and going to I don't know, the electrical down here is a nightmare. I don't even want to talk about that kind of safety stuff. But I do want to talk about, because this is like my cajillionth try in doing this, some of the things that you really need if you're getting started in working on an elephant. You need what I call a hazmat suit. I have this one here that I work on. Oops, sorry, I got it all wrapped in together so that I can remember to bring it and show it to you. What I use, some of the stuff I use, not everything. I have this suit. It has a hood on it, so it protects your hair for mold and dust and all that stuff. It's not bad, It's full length, goes down to your ankles. You got nice cuffed sleeves so that it's not a safety hazard when you're picking things up and getting snagged on stuff. You've got the little ankles here. You can get booties. Booties are cool, but they can be slippery in some spots and for protection. Safety goggles. Safety goggles are important because sometimes you're in areas where you have light ballasts and you're carrying things through, and I've almost accidentally hit had a handrail down here, and I almost slammed that against the light ballast, and safety glasses are important for that. Dust masks. Dust masks are your bare minimum. I've used bandanas. Because I didn't have any dust masks. But this is the minimum you should be using in an environment like what I'm working in. I also have a respirator. This is a heavy duty one. Has both the filters on the sides and it's got the drain. It still gets pretty gross. I've got my second one here. I think this one is the one. Yeah, this is the one that I've used up in the attic, and you can see the sawdust collected in there as I was sweating, and it's yuck. Yeah, that's what you're breathing in. You don't like that. It's not good for your health. Hi, Ashley. Nice to see you. It's been a while. You know how this goes. Working on my elephant today. Another thing I use, I have this major flashlight, LED flashlight, so I can prop it up anywhere. It has the flashlight on one end. You can hang it, you can prop it up in a dark space. Safety is always first in everything we do here because it has to be. Your body is what's going to get this done if you're doing this on your own, and you have to protect it where you can. I also have another flashlight that I use. It's a clip light, and I can clip onto anything. I don't see anything safe here to clip it onto. He's got nails hanging around here, so I can use the nails. Just clip it on, and you can point it in any direction that you need it to be angled at, because some areas can get really dark and dusty, and you can't see what you're doing. Now, another thing that it's not just about safety, physical safety. You guys, when you're starting a project like this, you have to make sure that you're physically strong for this, mentally strong for this. You got to be prepared to feel very alone. One of the most common traits, and somebody emailed me the other day and asking me, for links to this page, and mentioned how alone she feels in all of this. And that is a very, very common trait when you're dehoarding a property, or when you're even in the full cycle of hoarding. Everybody feels very alone and alienated, and that's something that really needs to be addressed with regards to people who are doing this process, because you have to find ways to cope. You have to find positive ways to cope. One of the things I do oh, yeah, gloves. Sorry, okay, I'll get back to gloves in a second. One of the things I do is I make sure I have lots of good, loud, positive, upbeat music going. So that way I'm doing a little bit of a dance, staying mentally here. But it can be distracting. You have to be careful with that. Too loud and nobody can hear you if you get injured when you're yelling out. Gloves are very important. A couple of times you've seen in pictures here with me, like I pull out a drawer, I don't look right away. These drawers are empty now, or like as empty as they're going to be. They were packed full. But when you stick your bare hand into a drawer, you're touching metal objects like drill bits, pointy stuff, sharp stuff. I've got lots of this. I found a hypodermic needle in one of the drawers. Fortunately, it was capped. But what if it hadn't been? What if it snapped open while I was handling it? If it weren't for my gloves. And I highly recommend leather gloves. These are great. I love these because they're dexterity gloves. I get the grip that I need. Cushion gloves for when you're really working heavy weights. Like I'm picking up 50-pound buckets of metal. Like here's a bucket of metal I have here. This is some of the progress I've got going on right now. I try to take up something every time I walk up the stairs, or I make somebody take something up with me. I've got these buckets of metal, a box of taller metals, blocks of woods, things like that. You want to be able to know that you can carry them safely. I'm going up 13 stairs, and then I'm going out the front door on top. So I have to make sure that I have gloves that have comfort grip when I'm carrying, or I'm going to just grin and bear the pain as I'm carrying these buckets up. I also have stuff like this, like boxes of hinges, car parts. Here's a nice big block of wood that I'm dealing with. Hazardous materials. You need to know that when you're dealing with hazardous materials, how your local garbage or dump deals with them. We have waste facilities here where I live, where we actually have to separate all of our hazardous waste. And even though I have them in here, it's e-waste. This is considered e-waste here, and we have to separate that too. Once I get to the point where I'm going to the dump, I will separate that yet again. To separate the hazardous chemicals from the e-waste. I just do that for simplicity reasons, or else I'm walking around too many buckets and barrels and garbage bags and stuff like that. This is a tremendous difference to what I originally started with. I've been focusing in on this area quite a bit. I've removed over 1,000 pounds last week or 2 weeks ago from this bench area alone. 684 pounds was strictly metal, and then everything else I had thrown out or donated, it's probably at least double that. Anyway, so what I'm doing here is I'm separating them. I'm going to be donating quite a bit to Habitat for Humanity. We have a restore locally here. So these are all brand new and packaged items, or things that are really well sorted out. So I didn't have to worry about separating them, stuff like that. When I picked up jars, I have a video where I would pick up a jar, something like this, and it would be random, like all sorts of stuff in there. This is pretty similar stuff, so it's going to go to donation. Whatever was randomly mixed together, I just said, so what? I'm not going to spend my lifetime sorting through this to make everything right. So I would just put it into the scrap metal for being melted down. I've sorted everything out as best as I can for now. I've got screwdrivers with screwdrivers, drill bits with drill bits. This is a man's world to me. My father, as much as he did have in tools, I haven't got a clue how this works. And I know I could probably learn how everything is and what's the difference between a mason bit and a wood bit. I think these are the mason bits, not sure. But I can't spend my time doing this, so what I'm going to do is probably have people come in and make offers on some of these tools and let them take what they need and whatever is left over, I'll still donate. My dad, for some reason, was a prolific key hoarder. Prolific. That was just yesterday's haul in keys. All of this. All of that. I have a larger collection I'm going to add this to, and then when I'm done at the end, I'll see how many keys are left, in because it's kind of funny just collecting them all. This I found in my dad's tools. This was my pencil sharpener when I was a kid. It's a pencil sharpener. Kind of ironic that I found an elephant in my dad's stuff, considering I call it How to Eat an Elephant. This is my new little mascot. We're going to keep him around. We're going to see what kind of fun we can have with him. Anyway, hope you enjoyed it. I'll talk to you soon, I hope, Ashley. I hope you picked up a couple of tips for when you're working on this. Emotionally, you're not alone. There's many of us going through the same thing, and it is a very difficult, it's probably one of the most difficult things a person can go through is having to dehoard a property like this. But fortunately now, resources, information, acceptance, removal of the stigma about it, more education is coming out. I hope it's better in your area than it is in mine. We're still in the infant stage for the information that's out there and the help that's out there. Anyway, how to eat an elephant, one bite at a time.